Welcome to the Self-Care Your Way to Success podcast, where we highlight the success journeys of successful entrepreneurs and professionals. Today, our guest is Markiesha Wilson. She is a multifaceted professional serving as management consultant and leadership coach, a captivating speaker. She's a very accomplished author. I have personally read 2 of her books and attended an executive training retreat and personally received some coaching from her. And so I'm ever so grateful and so excited about this interview because it is near and dear to me. So welcome, Markiesha. Please tell us more about yourself and all the value that you add to the world.
Well, Ken, first, as you know, gratitude is a big old thing for me, right? So I like to start everything with gratitude. So first of all, Ken, I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and your audience. I thank you for being persistent. I thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. And I'm just thrilled to be doing this actually today. I woke up like, ooh, I got something good on my calendar. So, to share with people, I guess, a little bit about me, when I'm doing a quick introduction, Ken, I always tell people that I have the heart of an executive coach, the mind of a management consultant, and the soul of a trainer. And it all comes out through the mouth of a Black woman. So that is who I am in a nutshell. I have been very privileged to have built, enjoyed, endured, right? A wonderful career in corporate America where I've worked for 3 of the big 5 consulting firms. And I have now had the privilege of running my own consulting firm for the past little over 4 years, Wilson Chapman and Associates. And so I am just, I'm at this place where I'm figuring out things for myself like some people are, right? Still, right? Figuring out what's next. But I'm also
Absolutely.
right. But I'm also at a place where I am loving to be able to give back to others right now.
The sound went out. Did you mute? I can't hear you.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I didn't realize you said you muted. Okay, well, no, that's wonderful that you center just your passion and what you do around generosity and giving to others.
I absolutely do. In fact, in this book called Cracking the Rich Code, right, where I contributed the chapter called Give More. I have it too. Give More, the surprising answer to life's big questions. Yeah, I talk a lot about generosity because it is my core value. It is the thing that I center myself around and have always, right? I've centered around giving my time and talent, whether it was to church or to friends. And I've centered around being able to give whatever it is that people need, particularly in the workplace, right? So I was very fortunate to have a leadership role very early in my career. And even in that role, very early on, I sought to be the person that was giving information or sharing everything I knew and encouraging somebody with a kind word. I believe that, sometimes we get caught up in giving is only money, but it's knowledge. It's exposure, it's opportunity. And that's one of the things I think that made me a really good leader in the workplace. I was telling someone recently that, try to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. They were trying to figure it out. And I said, I figured it out a few years ago. I simply want to be a philanthropist. That's what I want to do with my time. I want to travel the world and give away money. But what I have found, Ken, is I got to make some more money to give away some more money, right?
Exactly. I think with the open flow, a generosity mindset, it's absolutely destined for your hands and your life to be blessed with so much because you have the intention to spread it around and circulate it. And I believe when you are a source of circulating blessings, wealth, not just monetary, like you said, opportunity, putting people in position, sharing knowledge, sharing wisdom, opening doors for people, you are always going to be the source that those things return to as well. So it comes full circle. Yeah.
I feel that. And that's one of the things I should remember which chapter it is in The Climb, where I talk about How if you give it, look, you're going to the table of contents. Let me go
But am I looking?
Let me go to the table of contents.
Because I should know this.
Yeah. Chapter 4, exercise generosity. Yeah. And where I talk about exactly what you just said, which is if you give everything away that you need, everything that you need will come back to you. And it is absolutely the truth. I have lived that way. I have found that to be the case in all situations for me.
Yes. Well, I can truly say, based on my experience at the Audacity retreat last year in St. Lucia, I can truly say that the audacious actions that you shared with us as the pillars that you move by and that you shaped the way you do life, the way you do business, the way you do relationships, it was extremely impactful for me. I definitely kept my notes in my workbook. I still write in my journal, not daily, but weekly. I review my goals and I'm slowly checking things off. You are truly a source of motivation, a source of realization as well, authenticity. And what I like most about it is your transparency in your journey and how that resonates with others. You shared a lot of compelling personal stories. We won't necessarily highlight that here that impacted me, and I carry those with me. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited for what the future holds. What's something that you look forward to accomplishing or an impact that you look forward to creating in 25?
It's a great question, Ken. And I want to give you a super motivating, captivating answer for 25. I want to, but I wouldn't be being truly authentic and transparent if I did, right? I tell you, I want to get a bunch of contracts and make $1 million this year so I can give $500,000 away, right? I can say that. But what I have to say to you, Ken, is over these past few months, I really had to look within a lot to get motivated. And I talk in my book a lot about the journey through corporate America and the highs and lows, right? But I shouldn't say first. It is true that it's a first. I really hit my first low in entrepreneurship this year after 4 years. So if I could just say, as I plan for 25, September, I was like, I lost my brother in September. In October, I started losing and lost my beau, my romantic relationship. He didn't die, but the relationship has. So that was October. Yes. November, I lost the biggest and first prime contract I won with the federal government. So by December, Ken, I was down, as the young people say, I was down bad in December, right?
Yeah.
My heart was broken and I didn't know what 25 was going to look like, but we got Christmas. And with the promise of Christmas, for those of us who put the Christ in Christmas, we know that he was down 3 days and got up. So I said, okay, Markiesha, you're going to have to figure out how you're going to get up. You can't keep laying in the bed for 6 hours and popping up on Zoom like this for 2.
Yeah.
Being honest, that's what was happening, Ken.
Yeah.
And so by December, I said, all right, let me do what I know how to do.
Several things have been heavily impacted since the start of 2025. And it's definitely the availability of resources to support women in business. And a lot of people are being financially impacted by the changes in the various markets, by the weakening of the US currency. And so I decided to do a thing, okay? I started a virtual business through E1U Life, an AI automation company that helps you manage your business with the support of artificial intelligence. Not only do they offer you the tools to manage your business, they also offer you a way to diversify your investments through earning Bitcoin on autopilot. When I tell you I have been earning Bitcoin in my sleep, it surprises me, okay? And right now, E1U Life is having a very, very special entry point where you can start your business for under $30. And you can start to learn how to navigate managing and automating your systems With AI, you can get the support that you need, but not only can you support your business, you can turn your AI systems into a business to help other people. So you can create a new stream of revenue, you can earn Bitcoin on autopilot, and you can also automate your business processes. I don't want to give it all away because when I tell you it's such a huge, huge, big thing, it's such a huge gift that keeps giving. I want you to click the link, even if you aren't sure if you want to start a business through E1U Life. I want you to click the link so that you can at least educate yourself on the opportunities that are available to you. For less than $30, you can start your business today. You can start earning Bitcoin to beat the rate of inflation of the US currency, as well as start learning how to automate your business.
I do. I know how to pray. I know how to be in church. I know how to get filled with the Spirit. I know how to re-energize my soul in the tropics. So I booked me a trip to Curacao. And that's right. And so early January, first week, it's still January now, I sat, I reflected. I had my workbook that I was working through, trying to figure out how to get ready for 25, how to come out of the valley that I was in at the end of 24. So here I sit, about to launch into February, and I can say to you, the first goal for 25 is understand that 24's challenges are to be left in 24. If you're going to make it anywhere in 25, you can't drag all that baggage with you. And
absolutely,
you cannot. And with a lot of things that are going on in our political landscape in the US, so I know you have listeners all over the world, but in the US, you have to pretty much live under a rock not to hear what's going on in our world and the cuts to this program, that program, and this initiative and that initiative. The impact is so real on the emotional state of people that one of my goals is to inspire others to keep pushing to their goals in 25. And you might be thinking, well, that's not really a goal. How's that a goal? Well, because at the end of 24, I had no energy to inspire anybody. So I have to make sure in 25 that I walk in my purpose, which is to encourage people, push them, support them through corporate America and entrepreneurship, through life. I have to be able to do that. And so that's a goal that I don't lose a quarter like I did last year. I lost fourth quarter of being able to walk in my purpose because I was down. Now, I don't ask for any apologies for that because I am human, right?
Absolutely.
Right. But for this 25, I'm telling everybody this: keep your noses in the air and your knees on the floor. Keep your noses in the air and knees on the floor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have to stay connected to source. We have to stay connected to God. That's one of the foundational principles and the center principle of everything that I share as a wellness consultant and educator is if you are not connected to source, it's like being a lamp with a beautiful bright light, but you aren't plugged in.
That's right.
Nobody's going to know how bright you can shine. Nobody's going to know how you light the room, the impact that you bring in. You have to be plugged into source always.
That's right. And very simply put, you can't complete, if you are a lamp, you can't complete your purpose without being plugged in. Because if your purpose is to light a room, you can't do that if you're not plugged in. You cannot complete your purpose.
Yeah, there's no fulfillment of purpose without being plugged into the source. That's a mantra for 25.
I love that.
Yeah, and I wanted to speak more to some points that you made and what I heard from your expression of your experience in Q4 of 24. When someone experiences loss, rejection, separation, you have to go into detachment. There's this plethora of emotions and processes, grief that you go through with grief in business, with family, all of that. What type of things, because I know you said you took a trip to the tropics, which is excellent self-care. You have to get away to clear your mind, quiet your mind. What are some other self-care or just wellness practices that you may have implemented during that more difficult emotional time to cope, to heal, maybe to self-actualize, just things that really grounded your energy and brought you back into a space where you can think clearly and you can say, I still want to move into 25, leaving burdens behind and doing what I'm called to do as a consultant, a mentor, a leader.
Absolutely. So I will tell you, because I am a leadership coach of CEOs all around. So I first started using my own tools on myself. Okay, Markiesha, what would you do?
Wow.
You write a plan. You need to write a plan, right? Then I laid down, I have no energy to write a plan, right? So then I said, well, you work out, you keep your workouts going. So I stay with my personal trainer. I started to walk, and I walked 10,000 steps a day. Even it was been 11 degrees in the DMV. I was out there. I got a coat to my ankles. I'm like, so I did my physical things because I couldn't do my professional things yet, right? But I could continue my workouts and I could continue walking. That was clear in my head. So I kept that going. On the spiritual side, I started falling asleep listening to preachers because I felt that helped me usher into sleep instead of work, instead of feeling so big. Like my problems felt so big, I started to feel much smaller on the spiritual side of things, because you realize everybody's in the struggle doing something somewhere. And all of those things should have popped me back up by November, but they didn't. And it was then that I realized that I had not dealt with a lot of unresolved grief. That's what I realized, that the loss of my boyfriend, again, he didn't die, the relationship did, really activated the fact that your mom died in 20. Your dad died in 21. Your brother has just died in 24. And all of these things, you had something to go to. You had starting your business, you had a book, you had a contract, you had all these things. And when all of those things were gone, I had to really deal with the fact that I hadn't dealt with the facts that I was in some ways alone. So I got a therapist. That's what I did for self-care. I got a therapist. $10 copay. It's worth it, right?
It is. It is. Yeah.
She asked great questions at the right time. She asked me some things that I had never thought about, and that was important. She also encouraged me to join a support group, which I will. It's for the survivors of suicide. My father committed suicide, and I don't think I really ever put that in its proper place. So it was doing what I knew to do, right? So I think it's natural for an executive coach, for an author, for a thought leader, for a person that encourages others. I was like, you can encourage yourself, use your own tools. But those things failed me. Those failed,
Yeah.
right? I didn't have them to use on myself. And so I had to go physical, spiritual, and truly dig into the mental piece of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how you incorporated mind, body, and spirit into your wellness and your self-care to arrive here. And it's definitely a process. That things just don't click overnight. They don't always click over months, weeks, days, years sometimes. But I'm so excited for your progress. I love the energy that you have. And I definitely hope that your cup stays full, since you have to pour into so many other people, you know. That's wonderful. I love that. A lot of people do not want to get a therapist. And I myself have had my personal experiences with therapy, and they work. Like, they work because, yeah, it works because of what you said. You get asked the questions that you are too distracted by your emotions to ask yourself. And it works. It gets to the root. It gets the healing process started.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And people are always like, what am I going to talk to somebody for? It won't change anything. Well, here's the thing. It's just like, we say about God, right? Either he's going to change the situation you're in or how you feel about the situation. And that's what therapy does. It changes how you feel about the situation. Cannot change the situation. But how you feel about it. Yeah. And how you act going forward. That's the other thing. A lot of people, think therapy is about unpacking your childhood. And while that has relevance, it is about how those things in the bottom of the backpack from your childhood are affecting you in your Chanel bag in your 50s.
Yes.
So you have to understand and have to unpack so that you can go forward. So